Good evening, everybody. My name is 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative. If this is your first time, thank you so much for being here. If you've been here before, thank you for continuing to come to my channel and give me some support. Like I posted earlier, I'm about 45 people shy of 10,000 subscribers, so if you're not a subscriber yet and you think you might like the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the like, hit the share. I know that there's a lot of Idaho shit going on right now and people are still going crazy over it. But that's not what I choose to want to do. So it's a hard line. It really is. It's a hard line because I do want to talk about Idaho, but at the same time, I don't want to sit there and let that be my whole existence because, you know, at one point, that case is going to be done with information, be done with stuff that gets presented to the public. And then what? Then what are we going to do? You're going to sit there and rehash it over and over and over? I guess you can do that for the rest of your career. But I refuse to do that. I really do. There's a familiar face in the crowd. Hey, Jeff H., how you doing, buddy? Do you want to come up on panel? Be my co-host, be my co-podcaster? Let me send you the link if you want to. We're not talking Idaho tonight, so that might throw you off a little bit, but there's the link regardless. If you'd like to come up, come on up. We can talk about this that I'm about to show. I saw something today that was interesting. It said that StreamYard doesn't promote your lives. I don't know how true that is or not. If it's true, then, that's pretty crappy, StreamYard, considering you take $44 a month, right? Well, Jeff, there's the link. If you don't want to talk about true crime or just talk to me tonight on panel, maybe another time if you want to talk Idaho.
And 4 people found dead inside a home in Rancho Cordova, 2 of them children.
All this happened at a home on Millwater Circle near Kiefer Boulevard. That's in Rancho Cordova.
That's where we find your reporter covering Sacramento County, Tori Apodaca, live on the scene. Tori, this is such a tragedy. What do we know about what led up?
One of the things that is interesting about this, let me put Jeff on the... Hey, Jeff H., how you doing, buddy?
Hey, 12, how's it going? What do you know?
Just sitting here living the dream, right?
As you should. That's awesome.
I wanted to talk a little bit about this stuff, but we can definitely just talk after this, because I think this is going to be something that's going to be one of those types of cases that people are going to shake their head at.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the weirdness of it. Let me play this and then we'll talk about it. All right?
Okay, sure.
Here we go.
To that shooting.
Ashley, Dominic, usually during this time you would see children out here laughing, playing, but instead it's a crime scene and a lot of the details are still unclear. You can see that the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office has their large command center out here. It's been out here for hours now. Deputies have been going inside that home where you can see all of the debris out in front, with everyone asking the same question: what happened? It's painful to process, even for law enforcement. A man, woman, and 2 children found dead with gunshot wounds in a Rancho Cordova home.
It's always difficult. A response to something of this magnitude is always extremely difficult.
The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says it started with someone calling 911, saying they heard gunshots, followed by a call from a man they say claimed he fired the shots and was setting up booby traps. Traps investigators never found, and unclear if the man they discovered dead was indeed the caller.
She advised the subject was at home with his wife.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that somebody would call in and said he was the man that was shooting and he was going to set up booby traps?
That's bizarre.
What do you think about that, Jeff? If just hearing this for the first time, what was the thought that went through your head?
So but it's the caller wasn't necessarily one of the people who died. Well, no, he wouldn't be because the time of death, I guess they would know, maybe.
I mean, they said when they entered, and I was about to bring this point up because I thought it's interesting. I don't know if you know about this at all, with the videography and stuff that you do, but they're using drones now to go in and sweep the house.
Oh, cool.
Especially in this area of the country, because that's what they're going to talk about. And let's see, because that's what we're getting right now, the Drone 13 image. And let's see some more, and then we'll talk about it.
2 kids that are homeschooled.
We spoke with a woman who heard the gunshots off camera through tears. She told us it was a family of 4 who lived there, a young boy and girl who were over at her house about a week ago playing with her own children.
Please hold your position. I will give you an update and let you know if it's safe to approach.
When deputies arrived, they say they never heard any gunfire. Once they got a search warrant, they used military equipment to bust down the back fence and back sliding glass door, entered with a drone, and discovered no one inside had survived.
It's a very sad situation. It's not normal for this area. It's very, it's a quiet neighborhood.
Investigators say several firearms were registered to the man who lived at the address, with records of prior military service.
Anytime I go for walks or whatnot, people are out friendly, they seem happy and whatnot, but I don't know the family.
A detective scene taking a moment as they work to uncover every possible clue in this investigation.
As an agency, as a human, as a father, look out for each other, take care of each other in this very difficult time.
At this point, investigators are not calling this a murder-suicide, but they are not looking for any suspects. Detectives say that they have never gotten a call to this home in the past for anything or related to domestic violence. And in this area, the homes nearby were also evacuated, so many people were not able to actually access their homes. You can see a vehicle going under the crime scene tape right now. So many, though, people we've been talking with out here just saying that they're now trying to process all of this and decide how to tell their loved ones, their children, who they say played with the kids that lived at that home.
So you just
That's
heard
really
it, Jeff.
sad.
What do you think about that, buddy?
First, one of the first thoughts that comes to my mind is that often when you're a gun owner, you probably have friends that are also gun owners, or you have acquaintances, or you cross paths with people that also own guns. I mean, is it possible that, it's somebody that, one of the people who died in the house crossed paths with, who could it be,
Isn't that sad?
Yeah, the whole thing is sad. It's terrible.
I mean, it just shows our world today, and I don't know, I just can't get over it because, human life for some reason is not valued like it once was.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be old school here, but tell me what you think about that. Do you think that human life is valued like it once was, or do you think that people just view
Yeah,
life as
I'm
disposable?
yeah, it is sad, that to think that somebody can get themselves to the point where they don't they could snuff out a life and it doesn't really phase them. It's like stepping on a cockroach or something, It's like that's really a scary thought.
It's really bizarre because last night I woke up at like 10:30 with the dogs barking and howling, Murphy barking out back for 45 minutes.
Right,
Um,
right.
and there was an ambulance, a fire truck, multitudes of police at the house next door. I didn't hear any kind of commotion, any kind of gunshot, nothing like that. And that house is pretty, I would say, at least 50 yards.
Hmm.
No commotion, nothing. Now, as I pull up to come home earlier, there's all these cars on both sides of the street, as if something tragic happened at that residence.
Hmm.
When people gather together, whether there was a accident or there was a death or something happened. But my point is this: waking up to the dog barking is what ultimately woke me up.
Hmm.
Nothing else woke me up. Does your dog wake you up? Like, are you?
He does. I mean, he alerts us if somebody is outside the house, food delivery or somebody that he doesn't know. It's pretty amazing that he knows the people that he does know, that he doesn't bark when I come home. He doesn't bark when my wife comes home. But if somebody that he doesn't recognize is pulling up into the driveway, he starts barking. Good boy.
So, you know, there's a lot of. I can't talk to you without talking about that case, and I guess we'll talk about it a little bit. Um, because I really don't have a lot of energy to go to the direction that I wanted to go tonight.
Sure,
So,
sure.
um, how well versed are you in the Idaho 4 case, Jeff? Did you just hear about it?
Yeah, yeah, just happened, right? No.
Did
No,
you hear
I
all?
mean, I would say I'm pretty well versed. I think some people would say, well, you haven't really done the deep dive into the more recent documents, and that's probably a little true. But when I watch a lot of the videos or live streams talking about the case and the recent documents, I can't help but notice it's like I don't know what's worse, me not being all as familiar as I could be with these documents, or me thinking I'm very familiar with them, reading them, and then most likely misunderstanding them and mischaracterizing their findings to fit a narrative that we often call pro burger.
Well, let me ask you, am I correct that they came out with autopsy reports or something the last couple days?
They must have because I've noticed like two or three different videos where that's the subject of the videos.
Okay.
Yeah, but I haven't really
But weren't
dived into
we
that.
weren't we given some of that information earlier
I guess this
on?
is I guess there's more detailed information I imagine
Okay.
that was released. I
I mean,
think that might be what it was.
honestly, I'm out of the loop regarding that case. I mean, I can't listen to anybody talking about it more than a couple minutes, and I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't have the same interest anymore. I mean, once he pleaded guilty, of course there's still questions that we all would love to know the answers to, but, um, there's a feeling of I just don't see. I like tuning in and listening to what everybody's saying daily, but I'm not making, there's not a strong desire to be making videos about it or talking about it or going live about
Right.
it.
Well,
Other than
let's
to talk
talk.
to you like this. This is just
Okay,
you and
well,
me.
let's talk true crime, because I know that by following this case, you've you've indulged yourself in the understanding of killers, and even the most basic, because you've listened on my page. I've seen you in other pages where you respect the person talking about their knowledge. Would you be, I mean, even earlier, I rehashed a video that I did a while back where it showed the guy using a K-bar knife,
Hmm.
and he was stabbing at wood, he was stabbing at concrete, he was stabbing through all these types of different things, and that K-bar took forever to break.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? You know the video I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. I'm pretty sure I do. I didn't actually watch it today. I was watching your video, but then we had to run to the airport and stuff today, and
Right, right.
but I didn't catch it. But I mean, I've only seen, I think, one video where a guy was going at a cinder block with the K bar, so I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of
Yeah.
the right video.
So what does that tell you whenever you hear, not necessarily the other side, but when you hear people in general discussing, well, the key bar couldn't have been a knife because it wasn't that durable, it wouldn't have withheld all that damage and carnage going, into not only those four, but it's been the knife of choice by Danny Rowland as well. He used the
Yeah,
cable. And to my understanding, the K bar is very durable when it comes to being used to, for the lack of a
yeah.
better word, incapacitate somebody.
It's a
What's your understanding?
monster. It's a pretty ferocious knife, even if it doesn't have the serrated edge, which I think, from my understanding and looking at the model number they got from Koberger's Amazon purchase. I don't think he had the serrated edge. I purchased the serrated edge,
Okay.
knife, just because I didn't know. I didn't know which one. I just wanted to know what the K bar. Well, you remember Tom Van. Tom Van's the Marine who was in a lot of your lives, and Tom would always talk about how the butt end and handle of the knife is used by Marines. Marines are trained to use it as a weapon, as well as just a hammer, just basic hammer. That's the main reason I bought my K bar, because I just had to see for myself. And how long have I been talking about doing a video where I'd hammer nails with the butt end of the K bar? But after the plea, I don't have as strong a desire anymore to do something like that. Plus, two, do I really want to damage my K bar in making a
Right,
video?
right.
Doing
But I mean, based on what we know, based on the new autopsy stuff, based on the photos, the blood, the spatter, all that stuff, just as an onlooker, not an expert, neither one of us are blood spatter experts, but just as an onlooker and knowing what we know about other crimes, would it be fair to say that your theory of possibly him hitting one of the girls with the end of the K bar could possibly hold true?
Well, I know, I was just before I came over here. There's somebody that's live right now, and they were talking about that subject, and they talked about how it mentions that Kaylee had blunt force injuries, and I mean, I'm surprised if it's blunt force injuries, and it was truly the handle of the K bar. Seems to me like in the autopsy report they'd be able to say there were circular dents left in the blunt force with the blunt force industries injuries. Sounds like a
Well, let
awful
me ask
company,
you. Let me
you
ask you a
know.
question. I was looking at the photos, without getting too graphic, but the ones in Xana's room, I noticed on the floor, I wonder if he dropped that knife more than once. Because I did notice circular indentions in the floor in some of the photos.
Or maybe he was trying to bludgeon her with it and missed and, hit the floor. I mean,
Very good.
because my theory in the beginning was that, and mainly because I thought, okay, it seems to me like this was a relatively quiet murder. As if he was maybe thinking, you can't leave them any time to yell or scream because that alerts others. Right? Just like you said, the dog wakes you up. You don't want screaming. Screaming will wake somebody up too.
Of course.
And so my theory in the beginning was that he first would use the hammer end of the knife to knock them out and then use the blade to do all the rest of the awful stuff. But if he truly is, say he's chasing Xana from the 3rd floor down to her room, and she's probably hyperventilating, freaking out, trying to get to her room, which is, I say hyperventilating because I'm trying to figure out, okay, why wouldn't she scream as she's running away from him? Now, it's possible that she just in shock and just can't make a sound.
You as a grown man, are you going to scream?
Probably not. I'm probably just going to be so focused on my goal of getting to my room.
You get what I'm saying? It's like you just put it first person and you ask yourself, are you a screamer? When something scares you, do you scream? Because there are some men that scream.
Right, and there's also, I mean, does it happen too fast for her to have a thought to herself like, if I scream as I'm running away from what I just saw this guy doing, all I'm really doing is alerting my roommates and making them come out of their rooms to see what's going on, and that puts them in danger. So maybe,
I mean, that could be a thought. That could generally be a thought,
But I think she really just wanted to get to her room, lock the door, and be with the safety of Ethan, to protect her.
There you go. There's the word you said right there, safety. The safety of a 6'4" guy versus a 6' male. Aren't you going to want to go where it's familiar, where it's safe, where somebody bigger, and with 2 of you, you're going to be able to hopefully overtake this monster.
Right. And do we, I have to listen to Dylan's interviews more closely, but did we ever determine, did she really articulate whether, there was a question of who said there's someone here? Was it Kaylee or was it Xana? I personally, I could see either of them. I could see Kaylee saying there's someone here. She'd going across the hall to see what's going on in Maddie's room.
Well, I believe she had said.
But how was it said?
I don't think anybody knows, Jeff. I really don't think anybody has an understanding unless it is.
I wonder if did she possibly say that it was screamed, or was it a scream that she heard? See, I'm not sure. All I know is this: I know when it comes to Dylan, I don't see, and I don't even understand how some will take her and say, well, she's the villain in this, because all the things she said, she's not even sure of what was real and what was imagined. She's just trying to search her memory and trying to help.
But it's easy. It's easy to vilify. It's easy to vilify somebody when you don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you and I have been talking for a while. So if somebody were to ask you, well, does that sound like something, you hear something about me, you're gonna go with whatever you know about me. And you're gonna cross-reference and be like, was that something that 12 would be capable of saying or doing? The same thing with those roommates. They lived together. So how could she not know the differences in the sounds? Kaylee always had that higher pitch. I don't know how to describe it. Like even when she's talking to Maddie, like when she said, Maddie, what did you say to Adam? Wasn't that more like an assertive tone to you, or did you? I mean, I don't know the girl, so I don't know if that's her normal tone, or that's hey, what did you say? This is serious. You know what I mean?
Well, the other thing you have to take into account is that at the time this is happening, there's no thought in her head that somebody's being killed, that murder is happening tonight. There's like the only thought that I think is going through her mind is like, what the heck is going on? What is, and I more lean towards, I'm kind of, that Dylan is scared, but not scared of murder or death. I'd still say she's probably scared of.
We're talking about Dylan right now, not Kaylee.
Dylan, yeah.
Okay, Dylan. Okay.
Yeah.
So she, your mind, in your thought process, she is not visualizing that somebody being harmed, right?
No, because I really think if she, even when she saw Xana on the floor, which I believe she truly thought at the time, this is just Xana passed out. It's a Saturday night. This probably isn't the first time, something like this maybe has happened. And I still say you see somebody passed out in their bedroom on the floor, and you realize to yourself, well, Ethan's probably in there as well. It's funny, even the Pro Burgers, as they talked about it, I guess there's a bloody pillow near where she was laying. And when they mention, well, what if her head was on the pillow? And when they mention that, I think, okay, now this is where you would mention and say, well, maybe that's why Dylan didn't think there was anything really that serious, because here's Xana laying on the floor with a pillow. What's that?
Yeah, one of the photos, you do see her hair on the pillow. That was one of the photos that was redacted. Like one of the photos, I think that
like hair removed from her head, or her actual head is in the frame with her, or the hair.
Well, Jeff, I don't know, because there's a black box and then there's hair laying on the pillow. So I would believe, I'm going to show you these pictures here in a second. I downloaded them just now, so I'm going to show these pictures of reference.
But I think, don't you think that the real attacks on Dylan, you could probably summarize them to say, we got to take out Dylan, because Dylan is a witness to Brian. She described bushy eyebrows, and we want Brian to win, so we got to take out Dylan. Basically, like Ann Taylor might look at it.
Do you hear what you're saying?
What's that?
It's like, we have to take out Dylan. What's she have to do with the crime at this point? You get what I'm saying? I understand what you're meaning by we have
and that they're still
we have
doing
to
it.
Discredit. We have to discredit Dylan.
Yeah,
I get that. Well, that's the defense attorney job anyway. So she probably was gonna try to discredit her. But think about this. If you're a defense attorney and you're just trying to discredit or go after a surviving roommate, how's that going to look to a jury? How would that have looked to a jury if they would have went to trial and Ann Taylor's going after the surviving roommate, trying to discredit her?
Right. Probably would come across as kind of desperate, pretty low thing to do.
Right.
Especially if there's nothing that compelling to argue that why you believe she, Well,
what do you think about that? I mean, what do you believe if there would have been a trial and Ann would have got to go and cross-examine both roommates, and she starts discrediting them?
I think Ann would have gone about it gentler than a lot of these YouTubers are going at it, because the YouTubers are pretty ruthless. They're convinced she was involved.
Let's just stay here with you and I, okay? Let's just stay here with you and I. Let's not worry about them tonight because we're just having a conversation right now. But think about that. If you were hearing the defense attorney go after the surviving roommates, would you have any kind of empathy? Here, I'm going to show you this photo. I hate to be showing this, but I want to show you. I don't know. I even sent you this photo. I don't know what you did with it, but look. Where is that? Right here. You can see here.
Hmm.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But I
So
mean, is that possibly
So
not
if
connected to
you're,
her any longer?
and it's laying flat like that perfectly,
Oh, okay. Yeah, hard to
and you
tell. I mean,
see
I
in
can.
the other video, you see in the other photo, she's laying like against those containers. Yeah, they already took that photo off. Go back in your messages and look at the photos that I sent you. This is the only one that they kept. Let me see if I can find the pictures of the floor because I initially had a thought on the floor,
Mhm.
not any of these.
You emailed those pictures,
No,
or you texted?
I texted them to you. Okay. I don't know if you can. Somebody said they were curly fries, but I don't know if that's what it is or not. It's hard to zoom in on this. You see these markings right here? You see where my mouse is?
Right.
You see that?
Yeah, it's almost like
Yeah.
a. Looks
It's
like
a
a little
shirt.
tiny pair of handcuffs.
Yeah. And that's what caught my eye to begin with. I thought, what the hell is that? And I zoom in on it, and it really doesn't get clearer. It gets pixelated. So it's hard to tell. And then I thought it might be an earring.
Well,
And I'm not,
could it just be two drops of blood where see a little to the right of it? There's one that's kind of looks like a letter C. Um,
come on, Jeff.
I mean, is it possible that the blood
But look at this.
dries?
This could definitely be the butt of the K-bar. You see that?
Possibly. That's a similar size, yeah, to it.
This looks like a flowery, like some kind of flower was right there, and that was the imprint of the leaves.
Oh, I think I see the picture you were talking about that you sent me. You kind of circled it with a blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that
So I
like
just wanted to show you that. I mean, I didn't want to really get into detail. But right there, you can see it a little better. They look like earrings or maybe rings.
But I mean, does a blood droplet ever drop and then the liquid part of it kind of go to the outer edges of the circle and then dry that way? I don't know enough about blood to know if that's.
What are you talking about? This?
No, the one that looks like the little handcuffs. I mean, because you can see obviously there's wood that you can see in the center of the circle. What I'm asking is like, does the drop hit? And maybe just the force of the drop hitting, and then the blood's got to go somewhere. It goes towards the outer edges of the
I don't know.
circle.
They look solid. You see, they look like a metallic solid.
No, but I mean
part.
in the center of the circle. It's a ring, and it's not
Oh,
just
right
a
here?
solid circle. No,
Right here?
the little handcuffs. The little handcuffs. I mean, you see a ring in the inside of the ring. You see the wood
look
of the floor.
They look like rings.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is, when a blood droplet hits, does it ever dry where you only see the outer edge in a ring shape? I don't know enough about blood to know. Let me
See,
see.
those
what
look like rings, like off your fingers. Think that that looks like a part of, like, where a stud would be. I don't know what they are. I don't know.
But I mean, you know, there's similar circular shape.
I mean, I thought they might be earrings or rings.
Because I mean, the connecting part of the red connecting, that could just be more blood that's, you know, that has fallen in more of a horizontal line.
See, this is how blood, when it drops and coagulate, that's what it looks like right there. You're asking if blood drops and dries, that's what it looks like right there.
Here's let me see if I can share this with
What
you.
what that black part is, that's your blood drying.
I mean, here's a blood analysis photo. Desktop. Come on, where are you?
I don't know. That looked like blood drying. It looked like earrings. It looked like rings off your finger. I mean, it could have been multitude. It's sad, is what it is, though. That's definitely sad. Did you put something for me to show?
No, I can't. Now, if I text you something, you can't show it from a text, can you? That's to be emailed.
No. Put it down at the
I
bottom.
should be able to show it. I don't know why it's not letting me. Wait. Oh, because I chose video file, not image file. I think that. Yeah, that's it. All right, here you go. You know, I mean, could it be something like that? See how sometimes it dries as a full solid, sometimes it's a ring.
I don't know. Good thought. I don't know.
The thing it brings up is that you got a lot of YouTubers that claim to be experts or sound like they're experts on all this stuff. It's unfortunate that we don't have experts on YouTube talking about this. It's the other sad thing too, why that that it didn't go to trial, because we would have had experts also discussing this, which would have prevented all the speculation and all the
let's talk
instant
about
experts.
it. Let's talk about experts for a minute, Jeff. Let's talk about
Sure.
that. Because the purpose of an expert, the defense has their expert, the prosecution has their expert. So you have two sides with their own experts for a reason. What would that reason be?
Well, I guess just to clarify and get closer to truth, I would imagine, based on no.
See, your impression of a trial or judicial system is never about the truth. It's about whether you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this evidence could have made your client culpable.
I see.
This person
I see.
culpable. It's
Yeah.
never
So
it's never about the truth or guilt. It's never about that.
because that's
not
kind of
what it's
extraneous and not the main focus of the court
Right.
hearing, the
So
trial. Yeah.
if you were gonna do a presentation, okay, and we were gonna present this blood right here, you bring in your expert because you want to show your perception of your understanding. Your expert, do you want your expert to be in line with your thought process, or do you want your expert to be antagonist to your thought process? You get what I'm saying? Do you want him to be on your side, or do you want him to be on my side?
Right. Because as an attorney, you'd stand up there and you'd say, "Now, don't take my word for it. You heard the expert." don't believe me, believe the
Now,
expert.
now, as a defense attorney, they're going to want somebody that's going to align to their thought process because they're trying to paint reasonable doubt when it comes to their client. So the prosecution going to get their own expert to say, well, there's no way this expert's right because this is what our expert says. That's why the jury has the job of filtering through all of it and seeing if there's reasonable doubt or if the person is more likely culpable of the crime.
Right.
Because it's never about guilt or innocence, no matter what people want to say. It's not about guilt or innocence. He pled because he pled culpability to the crime.
Right.
The judge never asked him, do you plead guilty? Did he? He did not. So
right. What did he do? What did he do? Yeah, the first thing he came out and just said that what Mr. Koberger has taken a plea deal is basically what he's saying. Is that what you mean? He didn't.
So when it comes to the murder of Madison Mogan, how do you plead? Do you plead? He was asking him in a way where he would say yes or no. It was a closed-ended question. So he asked him, in the murder of Madison Mogan, are you saying that you are, in so many words, culpable of this crime, of the commission of the crime? And he said yes.
Right. And the big one, the main one I remember is that he said, are you
I don't believe he ever asked him if he was guilty.
Well, he did say, are you saying you're guilty because you are guilty? That was that's the question that stuck most in my mind.
Okay. But that was at the very end, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But before that, he went through the 4 murders and the burglary. So where would you get that this individual who was given this opportunity at any point to say, no, Your Honor, I didn't do any of those things? Where do people get that?
Where do people get that? Why he didn't say that, or?
No, because when we get to the why, we're speculating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you, at what point could he have said, if he didn't do it, could he have not said, no, Your Honor, I don't take accountability for that?
Right, right.
And he never did that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like he could have at any point. I mean, if it was one of the theories where there was a second person involved. I mean, what if the second person was responsible for just the death of one of the victims, but Brian was the 3? I mean, would he have said, "No, hold on, I didn't do that one. I did these, but I didn't do that one."
But Jeff, if you and I go to a home tonight, okay, and you don't tell me this house has criminal activity or any of this stuff, we go in, you wait in the car, it gets ugly, somebody gets murdered. I'm in the house, you're in the car. I come running out. Take off, somebody just got murdered. You and I are as guilty with the person who killed that individual inside the house. You were in the car, sitting there listening to music, texting your wife, whatever you were doing, and now you're an accessory to murder after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So, all these theories of Brian was there, but there was somebody else. Well, you know what? Brian's still guilty. after the fact. He's an accessory.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying there?
Right.
So
Yeah, I think I'm getting what you're getting at.
it's kind of like, I don't know how it is, the laws are in your state, but in Texas, here's another example. I'm riding in your car. You have an ounce of cocaine in your back seat. We get pulled over. Neither one of us want to say that that's our coke.
It's in my guitar, isn't it? Isn't that what somebody said?
Yeah, it's in your guitar.
It's in my guitar.
It's
Yeah.
in your acoustic guitar.
It's in. Yeah.
They found the coke in your acoustic guitar. Guess what? You're not owning it. I'm not owning it. We're both going to jail with possession of cocaine. Because they're going to charge us both with that cocaine. And there's a chance, even if you say that's mine, if I have any prior record, let's say that I'm a felon, I'm going to jail too. Just because. What do you think about that?
But now, what's the point you're trying to make though, other than educate
Well,
me
we're-
on?
We're talking about the alternate perpetrator. Had there been an alternate perpetrator, Brian would still be guilty after the fact.
True. Yeah.
Because many times they're saying, well, I'm not saying he wasn't possibly there, but I'm not saying he was strong enough to kill anybody. He was mobile enough to kill anybody. He was, with the weapons he used wouldn't have withstand anything. Well, what I'm saying is, Brian was there. His DNA was on the knife sheaths. Brian could have been sitting in the car grading papers for all we know. Brian was there. Whether he plunged the knife into those kids or not, the fact of him being in the vehicle, and there was a quadruple murder that just happened, and you're the only one we've caught. Guess who's guilty, buddy?
What do you think? What do you think the reason he took the plea deal? And do you believe he sought it out? Because I know there's some that don't believe that it was him.
Well, let's take.
that
Well,
went-
no, I'm going to ask you the question with a question, okay?
Mhm.
Because I want you to think about it. Instead of listening to what other people say, think about it on your own recourse. Like I asked you a while ago, would you scream out loud if somebody was attacking you? You said no. So let me ask you. Let me ask you that question you just asked me. Do you believe? Finish your question. I didn't give you a chance.
No, you did. You're good.
What was the question you were asking?
Oh, about the plea. Whether I guess I was asking, why do you think he took the plea? And also, do you think it was truly him that sought after the plea, that he went to the prosecution and said, hey,
Well,
I want to
who
do a
else?
plea deal?
That's where people, once again, don't understand what they're talking about. Ann Taylor wasn't on trial for murder. Nassoff wasn't on trial for murder or potentially awaiting a trial. Bicca Barlow wasn't potentially awaiting a trial. So they couldn't have asked for the plea because they're not potentially waiting on a trial. The only person that could ask for plea would have been Brian Kohberger. The reason behind the plea? There could be multitudes of reasons. One of those reasons could have been the simple fact that he believed that the evidence was strong enough that he was going to get death, and maybe he wanted to save his own life. Or maybe there's multitudes of reasons he pled. Why did Danny Rowling plead at the last minute? They were issuing jury summons when that dude pled out. pretty much the same thing as Koberger, right?
Right, right.
At the last minute, after all the appeals and not appeals, but after all the motions, and you have no more things to throw at the court, what are you going to do? What would you do? You're facing
I know one thing. I wouldn't.
the firing squad. You're facing the firing squad if you take it to trial. You've run out of motions. We're not talking about Koberger here. We're talking about you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is what you're facing. You're facing the firing squad. You're all out of options. Your defense attorney has been fighting to take the death penalty off the table the whole time. You're at the crossroads. You're either going to trial and you're going to go with what you know, or you're going to say, okay, I'm going to go the easy way out. I'm going to take life in prison. We've had multitudes of people that have been incarcerated to say they would have fought it with everything they had, especially, if they felt that they could win. Obviously, he felt he couldn't win because he is the only one that could have asked for it. Could he have been coerced? I don't believe that 1 minute. Why take it to the last minute before you ask for a plea?
Right.
Now answer my question. What is going to make Jeff H. plead out instead of going to trial?
Being the one to take the blame for 4 deaths when you know you didn't do it, there's no way. There's no way I would I would
Okay, so
I would take the plea.
are you gonna challenge the death penalty? You already have a potential you're going to trial one way or the other. All the motions are off the table. You're going to trial. Are you gonna take a chance that they're gonna kill you? Or are you gonna just say, you know what? I'm all out of options. Life in prison doesn't sound so bad. Death or life? Which am I going to choose? Which are you going to choose?
I don't know. I mean, what kind of life is life in prison? I mean, do you really see that as an option? So that
look at it through the eyes of the defendant, not through the eyes of Jeff or through the eyes of 12. We're free. You're either facing life or death.
Well, I mean, is there the arrogant side of you where you say, well, okay, I can't win this battle today, but I can win a future battle. So and I can't have a future battle if I'm dead. So I will take this plea for now.
No, because they took the option to appeal off the table. That's in the part of the plea. No matter what you've heard other people say.
Right, but if you are truly believe that, and you know that you're innocent, you know it's all a mistake and they're in error, they've got the wrong guy, then I can see, well, you just kind of roll the dice at that point and say, just hope for a miracle in the future, maybe.
So that's what you would do. You would choose life, hoping that one day.
No, not me. I'm saying that's what I think.
Well,
that's
we're
what he's
talking
thinking
about you because I want you to.
I would never admit to doing something I didn't do, especially if it was that awful.
So you would have went to trial.
And if it went to a firing squad, I would allow them to put me to death, and even if it meant that maybe years later they found out, oops, we got the wrong guy. We took the life of the wrong guy, rather than to admit, in essence, that that I'm guilty of doing
because the
something
severity, because what we're talking about is not a make-believe situation, okay? The severity of admitting you did something is not just a flash in the pan. It's not, oh, I admit it. Okay, I'm going to life in prison. There's so much that happens behind those walls that's not even talked about. It's a fairy tale for a lot of people. There's only one creator or a couple creators that I've listened to that actually give it credence of how terrible it really is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that people think that it's as terrible as it really is. I mean, it's cleaned up a lot since the 80s and the 90s, but you know what? Freedom, or you're sitting in a cell 23 hours a day, all by yourself and your thoughts, where you already have all these insane thoughts about who you are. Think of that insanity that must create in that guy. And it's well deserved. It's well deserved. But think about that. Think about that.
Yeah.
If he had all those thoughts way back when about who he was, what his position in life, and blah, 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 he's always wanted the answer of his own existence. Now he has the opportunity to create that destiny. And he did it. The only way that you're going to get those answers that you've been looking for, Jeff, is to ask yourself, put yourself in those positions, because many people don't do that. They're playing with a fictional character that they have nothing, no connection to. So it's easy to say, oh, I wouldn't have done that, or I wouldn't have done this. Well, you don't know. I know your faith, right? I understand your spiritual point of view in life. Let me ask you this. Would you get a chip in you? Or they say you either get this chip or we're putting you to death. What are you doing?
What do you mean if you're like one that's against the idea of a chip or something, or?
Yes. Same concept. Are you going against your faith by putting the chip, knowing that that is a life that's not going to lead anywhere? Or are you going to let them put you to death for your beliefs?
Yeah, I don't know. Man, this is question night, isn't it? I didn't know there was going to be a test.
Wow.
I don't know. No, I think that.
I'm not getting a chip in me, Jeff. They can kill me on the spot.
No, when
That's
you
just
say a chip, you mean a chip to track you, and to?
No, a chip that the mark of the beast.
Oh, that I got you.
The
Okay,
mark.
now I see the. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Would we know that what they're offering and what they're about to do is
Quit-
truly would
quit
be the mark of the
thinking-
beast,
Quit,
or would it
quit
be?
doing- Quit doing
I mean,
that.
but I mean,
But
somebody,
you know,
some
but
entity
you
could.
know, but you know, based on your beliefs, what it says it is.
Yeah, but there's
There-
some people that have Christian
We're talking
beliefs
about
and they
Jeff
don't.
H. We're not talking about some people. We're talking about Jeff H. right now. I'm asking you specifically. Would you?
But what I'm saying is that the chip that I've heard of that they would put in you that would allow you to purchase things with the chip inside you instead of a credit card, and your finances would be connected to it and all that kind of stuff. See, I mean, I don't necessarily know or can't know that, yes, that's truly the mark of the beast. That's exactly what the Bible is talking about. Because maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's worse than that, and it's coming later if it's coming. So I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Thank you, common sense. You're skirting around the question. It's a yes or no answer.
Well, no, but you're asking me to assume that chip truly is the mark of the beast. So if you ask the question, would you accept what you know for sure to be the mark of the beast, would you accept
There you
that?
go.
And
Would
is
you
it
would you
would you
answer that question?
um you know, I mean, something that I knew for sure was going against my faith. Um, that's a difficult thing to.
Because that's essentially what a person with no empathy, they are their own demigod, so to speak. They are their own existence in this world. That's why they have no empathy toward the killing of other people. That's why they don't care whether they take from other people, because there is no connection to this reality. Their reality is in their own head. So to say that this man was sane because he went to a college and was able to sit there and assimilate what the knowledge was he was learning, and he still couldn't have went out and did this crime is ludicrous to think that simple-minded. I mean, to understand a person on his level, that was a violent, violent crime. All these other killers that we talked about, violent, violent crimes. You know let me ask you this, since you're skirting around that question. I'll let you make it.
You let me off on that one.
I'll let you make it. I'll let you make it. Okay. You believe in good and evil.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that? Yes or no? Okay. Yes or no? Do you believe that Ted Bundy was evil, or do you believe that he was good?
No, I mean, I definitely think he'd fall into the evil
Based on the
category with his
outcome.
actions.
Based on the outcome, yes or no?
Yeah, yeah, evil. I would say.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, yeah,
John Wayne Gacy.
yeah, yeah,
The BTK.
yeah, yeah.
Danny Rowland.
Yeah.
Israel Keys.
I mean, the thing is that to be evil, anybody can be evil. Anybody can be good. So it's evil actions. A person capable of being good could do evil actions. I mean, they basically have given into evil.
Then how can you be so sure that Brian's guilty if you have that belief? See,
Well,
I
I mean,
don't have any doubt in my mind that he is an evil person. Based on the evidence and everything that I've seen, I'm holding true to that. There is no ounce of good. That's not my judgment call.
well, I
You
mean,
get what
can it be similar though to, like, if I went to a music school and I saw the teacher do something on the guitar, and I
Well, we're
say,
talking murder and music.
I know, but I'm gonna compare it to murder. I'm gonna compare it to murder. But I go to school,
Okay.
the professor
Okay.
plays something on the guitar. I say, you know what? I can do that. I can do that. So when you go to a school that's teaching about murder and you learn about killers that got caught because they, you know, did this or that, and then you think to yourself, well, shoot, I could do what they did, but I could do it better. I wouldn't get caught. You know, I could do that. So it's a similar kind of thing.
So
And when that,
how many good people do you know that have those thoughts?
well, how many people does the Bible say are good?
We're not bringing the Bible into this. We're bringing. I
No,
just
but you
asked
were
you a
saying,
question.
well,
I
well,
just
good and
asked
evil
you
though.
a question.
Uh-huh.
Answer my question.
Okay, okay.
How many good people do you know that think like what you just described?
How many people think like the person I portrayed?
You
The
just
person
described a person that said,
I could do
I
that?
could do it better. I could kill better. Is that your definition of a good person? Just because they saved somebody's life once in their lives, now they butchered 4 people, instantly that one time trumps the 4 quadruple murder? Is that your mindset?
Well, all I'm saying is that people can be good. I mean, certainly there are people that have probably had evil thoughts and then thought, "What the heck am I thinking?"
We're
I mean,
talking about
especially,
We're talking about evil actions.
Yeah.
These
But
are
I mean,
actions.
but I think a person, you know, God help us, but I mean, there's probably people that we cross paths with that are out there in the world that are just hour before we cross paths with them, they were probably thinking of something evil and decided, no, I'm not doing that.
Well, I get your point, because I use this example all the time. You know what the difference between a criminal and not a criminal? I
What's
drop
that?
my wallet, you see that wallet drop. A criminal is going to take the money out of it, destroy the wallet. A not criminal is going to pick up the wallet, hand it to the cashier, or try to chase me down and give me the wallet back.
Right.
So there's an example right there of two different type people. What you're trying to tell me, the criminal stole the money so that he could feed his family, so therefore he did a good deed by feeding his family. That's not how it works.
No, I'm not saying you can do an evil deed for a good reason, but I'm saying that you can be a good person. You can be a good person and have the thought. It's like a moment of truth. It's like a thought comes to your mind that's would be a decision between doing something evil. Now, most
But
people probably wouldn't even
we're
consider
talking
it.
about two different things there. You're talking about thoughts. I'm talking about actions. You're talking about thinking it. I'm talking about doing it. That's why I asked you all those names. Did you view them as being evil based on their action, what they did? You were thinking about
But
it
now,
because
do you think with each of them you could look back in their past and say there was a moment in time where they weren't evil,
we're
and
not
then
talking
they
about
became evil?
biblical. We're not talking about any of that.
No, I mean with each of their lives in their childhood, maybe they were okay. They weren't
Do
an
you
evil
believe
person
that
up to a point.
Koberger is evil?
I mean, he did an evil act, I believe, so that makes him evil. At what point did he
Yes,
become evil?
yes or no, Jeff?
No, you can't answer questions like that with just yes or no.
Yes, I can. I'm asking you. I am the
Well, then
host.
I can, but or I could ask you a question. Are you saying when you're asking that question, are you saying do I think he was always evil from birth?
No, I'm saying, do you believe what he did, what he pled to, makes him an evil person?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you do an act that evil, that does put you in the category of an evil person.
Because I'm not calling the man evil based on my personal assumption of who he is. I'm calling him evil based on what he pled to. What he pled to, stood up and said, I did that. That's what I'm basing it off of. All this other stuff, we've already known it in some semblance or fact or whatever. Honesty goes a long way with me. If you can be honest with me, I will open
But
up that
didn't
door that you're talking about as giving you another chance.
remember what
Oh,
Koberger said to that police officer? Well, I
do
mean,
what?
obviously, the night traffic stop when he got pulled over, he said, "Well, obviously, I'm an honest person." Remember that?
So the fact that he said he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, did that give you brownie points for him, or
No, not at all. Actually, there's that even makes it worse. If you're an evil person and then you're saying you're a good, honest person, that's even worse than that shows you that
okay,
you'll even.
we're only using this case as an example. We're using other cases because we are talking true crime, and I'm enjoying the banter. I really am.
Me too.
I'm
Me
not
too.
trying to I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm not trying to shame you or anything like that, Jeff. I'm really just enjoying our open-minded discussion, where I don't have to agree wholeheartedly with what you say or vice versa, and it's okay, right?
Right, right. No, that's true. That's true.
So let me ask you also, um, what other case? Jody Arias, you're well versed in that case, right?
Yeah,
I've
yeah, I did
seen
follow
I've
that one.
seen the documentary, but I'm not well versed as you were telling me about this case. Tell me what you believe about Jody Arias as a person. based on what you've heard,
Well,
what you've seen.
it sure seems like she was a person who you know, I mean, I think she was attractive. She knew she was attractive. She knew she could get what she wants. I think she learned she gets what she wants. She saw a guy that she wanted.
Do you believe she
But
did it?
oh yeah, yeah.
How?
Well, I mean, I mean, she even admitted to doing it, and then into trial. I mean,
Still doesn't mean she did it.
It took her three, but she lied three times. I think the first story was that it was ninjas that came in and let her go. They spared her life, but they killed Travis, you know, and then became self-defense, you know. But yeah, I think she sees a guy that she wanted, and I think unfortunately she picked a guy who was a religious guy. He wanted her, but not wife material, bedroom material maybe, but not wife material, and that really pissed her off.
Okay. So what makes her, is she evil in your eyes or is she good in your eyes?
Yeah, no, I think she's evil because especially even she doesn't seem to, you know, I think even today she still justifies, you know, what she did. She doesn't see how awful what she did was.
Honestly, to be honest, and people can replay this, they can clip it, whatever they want to do in the near future. If Brian comes out and admits this, and he walks people through it, whether it be Nancy Grace, Brian Enton, whoever gets the interview, if they're able to get an interview with him and he walked them through it and he's recalling what he did, okay, it still won't be enough for certain people because they will say that he's been coerced or that he's lost his mind after all these years and he's just relaying what people have told him to say.
I hope it's Willie. I hope it's Willie's YouTube channel that happens on. Wouldn't that be awesome?
I mean, to me, that case is cut and dry. Let me give you another case. Let's talk about another case. What's your beliefs on Casey Anthony?
Yeah, I didn't really follow that at all. I don't know too much about that at all.
Casey Anthony.
She got away with killing her daughter, right? Isn't?
Yes. Yes. There was all this evidence that pointed that Casey killed that little girl. But her lawyer got her off with a not guilty plea based on the ability to plant that seed of reasonable doubt. Now, I'm not saying Ann couldn't have done that. Ann was more than capable. People really lost faith in Ann after they moved it to Boise, but I believe Ann was capable of possibly planting that reasonable doubt. She just was never given a chance because her client wanted to plead. And she, as an attorney, ethically is not allowed to talk her client out of it, no matter what people want to think. You can advise them and say, hey, if I were you, maybe you might think on this a little longer, you know, because are you really sure what you're asking here? You know what I mean?
Right, but ultimately it's she's just working for a client.
Kind of like this magical appeal that everybody's talking about. The only person that can ask for that is Kohberger. Nobody else. And why hasn't he? Here we are, what? He pleaded in July. Here we are in January. What are we, 6 months in? August, September. Yeah, 6 months in. And he's been complaining about the food, the treatment, everything else. Wouldn't you have stood up and said, hey, get me out of here. Get me out of here. I want whatever I can do to get me out of this place. I can't take it.
You would think so, yeah.
Does that not make sense, or is that delusional, as many people say people are?
Or do you think the do you think the attention he gets today on, you know, 24/7 on YouTube almost, you know, every now and then a Dateline episode that's a special. So he goes in there, does something, I would say fulfills a fantasy for 10 minutes in a house. 10 minutes versus years of praise and coverage and people talking about him. He's relevant. He's on people's minds. He's on the lips of people as they talk about him. You think
Once
that
again,
could be?
once again, I'm going to turn this on you.
Uh-huh.
Would that be enough for you to stay in there and be tortured?
No, because I don't care about stuff like that. But if I had an upbringing where I was maybe I'm fat and bullied and
When
creepy
you were
and
watching Little House on the Prairie, stargazing with the family, and
right.
deathly afraid of blood, and all this crap.
But it's why, it's why we question, like, is this a Elliot Rodgers type of scenario? If someone, I was listening to, what's that guy, Bruschi, Tony Bruschi? I was cleaning the house yesterday listening to Tony Bruschi talk about Elliot Rodgers and comparing it to Kohberger. But when he mentioned that there are I don't know if they're organizations, but there are groups of people on the internet that, praise like Elliot Rodger, and they discuss it, and they see that the treatment that they receive by women, or that it's justified to get revenge. And it's just, that's just sickening.
But you know what? There are differences in their case, though. Elliot took himself out. He did what he did, then he took himself out. Kohberger hadn't even taken himself out. He hasn't done anything of the sort to be murdered at all.
Right.
But
Kohberger also probably.
But I think he's and I'm not putting his mental capacity or any of that stuff as far as what I'm about to say. It's his capability of being a killer. He's a fuck up loser. Just like, if he was trying to be immortal and martyred and everything else, he missed the mark by a lot. See that mark in the background? He missed that mark.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, there was no DNA and all this bull crap that people want to continue to spew, but he wasn't smart enough to wipe down the knife sheath. He wasn't smart enough not to drive his own damn car. Or not be seen 23 times. Once again, that's not my evidence. You can call me delusional, but that's what people said.
But don't you think if he's thinking this through, there's nothing wrong with driving your car through that neighborhood as many times as he did. That's not illegal. There's nothing he's done wrong. So if he could have gone,
when it leads to a quadruple murder, there's plenty wrong with that.
But what I was going to say is that if he can go and do that crime, not leave a knife sheath, not leave evidence of himself, that's why I don't think he would have a problem with driving his own car, because he felt he's going to get away with it. What's the worst they're going to have on him? Like, hey, we can pinpoint you near that. Well, yeah, I drove through there, but I didn't do anything,
But my whole point in saying all that is people make him to be a criminal mastermind that he is not. He'd be a mastermind had he not been in prison right now. Had they not been able to find him in Pennsylvania, he would have been a criminal mastermind, right? He would have been the Lex Luthor of our generation. Hiding in plain sight, committing all these crimes, and nobody can pin it to him. You know what I mean?
I wonder, if I could make a prediction. It seems to me like at some point he'll get tired of the fame that he's got now, where everybody's just wondering. Nobody knows for sure. He can sit there and listen to what people think he did or didn't do, but they don't know for sure. At some point, does he get tired of that and he says, "Look,
Jeff, you're giving
screw
him
it.
a
I'm
you're
guilty, and
giving
now."
him a conscience. You're
Hmm?
giving this dude a conscience. You're making him normal. That is your.
Well, but didn't they say he does watch news reports about himself? And
Does that mean he has a conscience?
I don't know if he has a conscience, but he's
You're
he's
giving
probably
him a
getting.
conscience.
But no,
You're
I'm saying
giving him a
he's
conscience.
getting off on that. He's getting
How do
off
you
on
know
that,
that?
and then
How do you know that? Where did you get that thought?
I just assume that he's getting off on that.
I mean, where did you get that thought that he would be getting off of the notoriety? I mean, he's in prison for life. What kind of notoriety would you actually get spending the rest of your life in a trash hole?
But it's interesting that he doesn't have the same desire for notoriety that Jodi Arias did, because Jodi Arias wanted to be on TV, wanted to be interviewed, wanted to talk about the case, wanted to just spill her guts about everything with confidence. She was a very confident person, thought that she could, fool people and talk. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe Brian just knows, like, the moment I start talking, they're going to know that it's me,
But you're
'cause I-
saying that the longer he holds out, the more he's feeling desire by knowing that he has the truth and nobody else has it. That came from somewhere. Where did you get that thought?
Well, it's
Because
probably just thinking of myself, or what, imagining. I mean,
because
how?
that is, I mean, if you were in prison right now, in a cold ass jail prison cell, because it's cold, there's no heater, it's not comfy, it's not any of that. How would you possibly be thinking, oh, I'm glad I got the answers, and they don't? I would be thinking about how damn cold I was. How my food, I can't eat it because I'm scared to death that somebody's gonna eat it.
Well, the whole thing about the food, it proves that he has the ability to complain about something unfair or something he doesn't like. So it seems to me that shows that, that he has the ability, would have the ability to complain if he was an
Well,
innocent man,
he's the
that
one
didn't do
that
this.
hey, I'm thinking along the lines of he's the one that put himself in that position, right? Is he not the one that asked for the plea deal?
Right.
He had a shot to swing for the fence and he didn't. He put himself in that jail cell, in that prison cell, right?
Right. Hey,
Somebody
David.
said, what do you mean we don't have the truth? He admitted he did it. We don't know all the details, but we know he did it.
Yeah, I think we both believe he did it. Both believe it's him, right?
You know where I stand.
Yeah. Well, I was just clarifying for David. I think the way we're discussing things, it could have come off unclear about that. But
I mean, to me, sometimes it sounds you're uncertain at times.
no.
You wanna-
I'm not.
I
I'm not
mean,
uncertain about
there-
his guilt, but I do wonder about
I mean,
how
people
his
want to
thinking.
humanize a person who has no human traits. That's where it all goes wrong for individuals. That they want to give a conscience. I'm not saying you, but they want to give a conscience to somebody who has no empathy. They want to give thought patterns of grandiosity when all he was thinking of was himself, nobody else. How can you give the
Well, but I think I pull from, and we don't have a lot to go with, but I pull from things like the WSU female officer that pulled him over. I mean, now it could be completely phony on his part when he's saying, I hope I didn't come across this way, or I'm sorry if I'm asking too many questions. I mean, it seemed to show a
Did he say
concern for
that?
somebody else's. Yeah, he kind of apologized for asking too many questions or coming across a certain way, asking about the law, the red light, what he should have done. Should he
Oh
have
my
backed
God,
up?
Jeff, I could sell you some oceanfront property.
No, I'm not saying that makes him an angel. But I'm
I
saying,
mean, do you believe that people can be manipulative?
oh, sure, sure. That's
Do
what
you
I said.
believe
Like
that?
earlier when I said
I
he
mean, do
told
you
that
believe
officer,
that?
I'm obviously an honest person. You know, that
Do
is
you
probably
believe
the
that
complete
criminals?
opposite.
Do you believe that criminals have the ability to be manipulative and lie?
Sure, sure.
So the fact that I'm asking, was anybody else arrested? Could that not be a manipulative tactic for everybody to be like, oh, there's no way that he could have done it because he asked if somebody else was arrested.
Right, right. Yeah, I
Because
planted a seed.
because by asking that, you're just admitting the guilt that you were there.
Right. Well, he's
That you
asking,
know that
yeah,
you
by
know
asking,
why they arrested you. Was there anybody else arrested? Oh, well, I just asked if anybody else was arrested. That's the honest part of me. Dope. What the hell was I thinking? You know what I'm saying? Is that not true, or is that just me playing on words?
Now, did they in the end find out that that was? I heard somebody discussing it, and was that not a true statement? I think that came from. Who did that come from?
I don't know who it came from, but
Because
regardless,
I know at the time
he said
when they were
that.
discussing it, they confused it with Brian Enton or the lawyer, Koberger's first lawyer, with the statement he made about being looking forward to being exonerated. They were
You know
confusing
what
that
cracks
with
me
the.
up about this? Not cracks me up, but what intrigues me is people believe that people can't have double lives. Most addicts have double lives.
Mhm,
Most people
mhm.
addicted to chemicals or any kind of lifestyle like that, they have double lives. There's a good person that they want the world to see, and then there's that person they can't conquer. And that person they can't conquer is more than capable of stepping to the forefront and being the demon that we see this guy to be. That's
Sure,
why I've
sure.
always said he's capable of killing. Whether people want to see that or not, that's on them.
But I
I
think
have
that's also why I answer when you say, when we were talking about whether a person's good or evil. I mean, I
no,
think
you were
just like you
saying he
said,
was good.
I think it.
You
No,
were
I'm saying
saying
he's
there's
good.
some good in Koberger when he
I'm
would
saying
tell you
that
what he was.
anybody's capable of being good and evil. We're all. And the question I asked about the Bible. Do you know what the Bible says about who's good?
I really do not. Not at this point,
The
no.
Bible says there's none good, no, not one. That we're all evil, that we're all in need of a savior. So basically, I mean, if you're looking at it that way, I mean, you know what? Go all the way back to Cain. Cain killed his brother with a rock. I mean,
Well, we're talking
murder
about
and evil
Koberger.
is
We're talking about Koberger right now. So at this point, would you be fair to categorize him or his actions, because we don't know him, his actions as evil or good?
no, definitely evil actions. He was in a he was in an evil state of mind, and his actions were evil.
We don't know. We don't know what state of mind he was in. He could have been in enjoyment state of mind. You know,
Well, which is
that's
evil when
another
you're
thing that
enjoying that.
people want to normalize this to say he went into that house and, or he didn't. Somebody else went in. He was out in the car. He saw somebody come out all dripping in blood, whatever, having blood spatter, and he was normal with it. For all the people that say, why didn't Dylan and Bethany call 911? Well, if Brian was there and he didn't kill anybody and he saw somebody in that state, how come he didn't call 911? How come he didn't call 911? If you want to say he wasn't culpable, how come he didn't call 911?
Yeah, I've often pondered on if that was you, and they were saying you could clearly say they think you're guilty, but you're not, and you're in criminology. Wouldn't there be a part of you that said, "Look, I didn't do this, but I could probably help you figure out who did it." I mean, O.J. Simpson has tried to, didn't in his life, wasn't he trying to make comments or statements about trying to, he's going to find who did it, who actually did it, at least he
know,
offered that up or those ideas.
You know, one thing people fail to understand whenever you are succeeding in life, you know, I have a licensure I look after every day. I have a career I look after every day. Everything I do from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I'm trying to protect those two things. Because without those two things, I am homeless, no money, no way of supporting myself to the level that I'm accustomed. So if he was really thinking about his criminology degrees and his potential PhD stuff, would not would he not have been protecting those above everything? He wouldn't have been supposedly doing what they said he was doing with his um, fellow employees. He wouldn't have been doing that to his students. Above anything, if you don't believe he killed these four people, that's you. That's between you and your thoughts. But I'm telling you, based on a person who has everything to lose, by the level that you're taking time and energy to learn something different to better yourself, you're not going to put it in front of the train for nobody.
Right.
So right now, you're telling me he spent all those years bettering himself and he was able to just throw it all away by killing four people, and he was okay with it?
Oh, what point do you think
That
what
is a
point do you think his
deranged
evil
individual.
plan was when do you think his evil plan was concocted? When did it come to him? When did he
Where do you
decide?
get an evil plan? What
Well,
show
I mean,
did
I
you
could
hear about that evil plan on, Joe?
no, but I could speculate if you're like you're saying he's worked very hard to get the PhD,
Why
or
would
did he
you
not? He didn't get the PhD.
why would you concoct a plan to blow up everything that you achieved?
Well, that's why we start talking about things like Elliot Rodger and a guy's sexual desire and
Elliot had
sexual
nothing going.
inabilities. Well,
Elliot
but
had nothing going for him.
but how many times have people, CEOs or remember what's the minister he got in front of all those people and he was crying and I have sinned, I have sinned. He slept with some woman that was on the church staff and cheated on his wife.
So
I
you
mean,
believe, okay, let me
that's
clarify.
biblical too. I mean, David and
Let me
Bathsheba, right?
clarify this because I don't want to be putting words in your mouth. Let me clarify what you're saying. You believe that all the education he did, all the time and all the energy and all the money he spent, the reputation with his family, all that, he did that to concoct an evil plan to destroy all that.
No, that's what I was
Because
asking you. At what point did the evil plan get
I don't believe
planted?
there was an evil plan. I believe that Koberger gave in to his desire. I believe that his urge became more than he could push under the table, so to speak. I believe that he started planning this a long time before he got to
I mean,
Washington.
so you're saying you think he was evil and had this evil plan as he was applying to the first college to head down this road of.
And you're
I mean,
telling
I
me
can I
you're
would lean
telling
more
me
towards
you don't think that that's possible?
no, it's possible, but I would think that it's probably more of a situation where he realized that heroin and the drugs were not
Use
getting him any
use
closer
this
to.
example all the time, the Ukrainian girl.
Uh-huh.
I've heard you use that example multitudes of times. You're telling me that guy that killed her hasn't had those thoughts in his head day in, day out, that he just thought that one day when he saw her board the train, that moment his evil plan kicked in?
Right. Yeah, no, he probably lived that very thing in his mind many, many
What
times.
makes him any different than Coburn?
Well, I mean, I know that guy has some serious mental stuff going on.
Well, you don't think Koberger did?
Probably, but I don't know that it's, the exact same stuff. I mean, from what I would imagine Koberger was a little bit
What
more
makes a
able to
killer
seem
different?
normal.
What makes a killer different in your eyes? Explain that to me.
Well, what I'm saying with between those
No,
between that guy
no.
and Koberger.
No. What makes a killer different in your eyes?
Different in what
What
way?
makes
What do you
what he
mean different?
did different than what Koberger did? Because I've heard you use that as an example with other people. What makes those two things different now that you're speaking about?
Well, a killer's a killer, but I mean, there's going to be differences in the killers themselves.
The fact that he was going to college and was actually a TA, that makes it different. Just say it.
Well, no, it just makes you
One was
wonder.
black, I'm not playing the race card, but one was black and one was white. If Koberger was black, would he be as innocent with people as they're putting him?
Or is it the kind of thing when you actually
Yes
do
or
have?
no, Jeff? Yes or no?
Wait, what was the question again?
If Koberger was black, would we have all this stuff that we have day in, day out on YouTube? Or would this have been a cut and dry case?
Oh, I don't know. I know
I'm not
racial
playing the race
stuff,
card. I'm not
but I
playing
know
the race
racial
card.
stuff
You know it's different. You know it's different.
because of race. Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the media and the
Because
way people react to
people have
stories. Yeah.
said, hey, many people have said, if Gillett and Bethany would have been males, they would have been in handcuffs. They would have been implicated in this crime. They would have
Which
been
I think is ridiculous. Was Hunter put in handcuffs? Hunter actually had a kitchen knife on him. I mean, Hunter wasn't put in handcuffs, so I think that's a ridiculous notion. I think the police are not stupid as stupid as a lot of these people want them to be. They see them as
But
Barney Fife for some
I'm
reason.
giving you some examples on how people's perceptions of different things. Now, if Koberger was black, would the same people be fighting for his innocence and for him to be exonerated, or would that just be another crime that was okay?
I don't know.
He killed
I
those
mean,
white girls. Hey, he killed those white girls because he was obsessed with one of them. You know, he hated white people, blah, blah, blah. He deserved what he got. He should have got the death penalty. I guarantee you that would be the narrative. But since it's the other way around, or would it have been different if Koberger was white, like he is, and the people he killed were black? Would that be okay?
No, I think all those dynamics.
These are honest questions, man.
But all those dynamics change the way people react.
Don't push them.
Whether they're these are obviously kids that can afford to go to college, so there's a wealth thing. I mean, how many times have Steve G's been the money issues?
Do not sweep this under
the money of the school.
You know damn well that it would have been different. This narrative would be totally different. You wouldn't have show after show every single night about it if it was a different dynamic. You know it would be. It would have been over in July. That would have been it. Okay, he's guilty. That's it.
Well, I don't know that you might actually get more support.
Hey, I'm asking you directly. Would you still be as fixated as you've been if Koberger would have been black, or if those females would have been black and he was white?
I mean, probably so, just because there's still unanswered questions and like, how did it happen? How was it done?
Probably
how did he do it?
Or would it have been like, well, you know?
I mean, I can't judge that. I think I still would be. I can't. I mean, I'd have to. You're asking me to look back and say, "Oh, here's a case that I didn't really give a damn about because the guy was black," and that hasn't happened.
You know that is in existence, man. We can't. It's 2026. We cannot act like that doesn't happen.
But I mean, you've got. I mean, I'm trying to think of other cases. I mean, you got you got George Floyd. You got O.J. Simpson. Of course, O.J. Simpson is a. I mean, he's a celebrity. He's rich. You know, that all plays into that.
You know damn well if Koberger was black, it wouldn't be the same. You know it.
But I mean, I don't think that's. I don't know that
how important. Would have been black.
I don't know how important the point is, though. Right?
It would not be the same interest, you know. And I'm not saying that because I'm throwing the race card. I'm just saying that is what it is, and you know it.
But I do think that the people that are interested in the case,
they're interested
on both sides. I would like to think that there's some honest people on the other side that are different than what I think, that honestly
what
do
their
think that,
reasoning? What their reasoning to question everything?
because I mean, we think that Koberger's evil. They think that law enforcement is
Don't say
evil, that the
we.
college is evil.
You didn't answer that
What's
directly.
that? What is
I
that?
believe that his actions were evil. You said there's a little bit of good in Koberger because he was a kid once and blah blah blah.
No, I'm saying at one point there may have been good, and they're. I
So
mean,
you're
what I'm
not
saying is
sold.
a good
You're
person
not.
can be tempted to do an evil thing, and that makes them an evil person. I mean, is what about people that are doing drugs and spending all their family's money, and is that evil?
Hold
But
on a second.
is there also a possibility of recovery?
Hold on a second. It's getting kind of warm in here. Well,
Feel- you know what? It's funny. It feels a little bit like, you ever see that movie Blade Runner? And
yeah.
the guy is, they keep asking him questions like, is this a test? Is this a test? You know, he's getting like, there's so many questions coming his way. You know.
Well, I mean, I'm enjoying it because this is the
Me too.
podcast.
No, I am too. I am too.
This
But
is the podcast format that I've wanted for a long time. It just have never went this way for whatever reason. But we're talking about multitudes of true crime here. We're not just fixated on Koberger, but we are talking about him, and that's an interesting dynamic to me.
and it's actually good to have, be questioned and say, well, what's your thoughts on this? Consider this scenario. What's your thoughts on this? If you're on a desert island, you could have only one song. What would it be?
Well, I mean, you see how it's not so cut and dry? People make it cut and dry. They make it like, let's humanize him when there is no human qualities. The end result is the end result. He pled, he said, yes, I did this. How are you going to stand up and say, no, you didn't, Brian? You didn't do it. You have autism, remember? You're not smart enough to say, yes, I did it for yourself.
Right. Right. Well,
That's what I get from people. It's like, well, he's autistic, so he's not smart enough to say, yes, I did it or no, I didn't.
Well, what it is to me, it seems like, well, now that Anne's gone silent, they're speaking for Anne. They're trying to say, wait, I don't want to give up. Anne has quit. Anne is done, but they don't want to give up. So they basically are now they're carrying the torch for Anne.
It's not about giving up. There's nothing to be fighting for. That's the point that I'm trying to get to you. Is there's nothing to be fighting. There was never a fight. There was never a fight.
But they would say that there are people that have pled guilty that were innocent. That's what
Jeff,
they would say.
I don't care what they say. People that care about what other people say or think about them, they're not mature enough to give that person the ability to not exist in their life or in their head. I don't care what they say or they think. People are able to think and say what they want, as long as it's not a personal attack. Now, if you personalize it, then it's a different story. But if you're just saying that because I don't agree with your stupid fixation, well, that's on you. I mean, I'm just as entitled as you are to say what I want, right? Is that not
But I
true?
think there's also too, there's an opinion I might have, and then when I'm sharing what someone else has said, it at least is something that I hear them. I hear what they're saying. I'm trying to process it, and I'm trying to, with all the things we hear, it's like, okay, does this fit anywhere within my thinking? Is there room and board for this to live within my thinking, or is it like this? No, this doesn't jive. And a lot of the stuff I hear over there on the other side is like, I just can't. I couldn't even pretend to make it jive. Of course, they probably say the same thing about me.
You've been repeating some of the same thing to me when I've been asking you questions.
Like what? What do you mean?
You rephrased the question and you tried to humanize the killer when there is no human qualities there. How can you humanize somebody who admits to butchering 4 people? The severity that these photos, everything else has been shown to us. How can you put that human quality on that person?
Well, that's the thing
How
that makes
can
this
you
case
how
so
can you say
compelling.
that you're
It's
like
the case is so compelling
BTK,
because it doesn't.
BTK,
It
Richard Ramirez, all those crime scene photos? Do you believe that they had human quality? Do you believe that they were a good person? They were
But
just
they also spelled out what they did. I mean, that's the difference in those cases. That we know what they did. They
so
talked
that
about
should
what they
tell you
did.
that he's not as brilliant as he thinks he is.
No, I think he's brilliant in that he's created a scenario that is very much like. I mean, if you think about like religion, I mean, there's people that will say, well, Jesus definitely died on the cross, was raised on the third day, and the stone was the
Do
tomb
you
door
really
was
want
rolled
to
away.
compare him to Jesus? Really?
I'm not comparing him to Jesus. I'm comparing him to the
You
nature
just
of a
said there's
story.
people that
I'm
said
not
Jesus.
comparing not no, but I'm not comparing the story or the quality of Jesus. I'm comparing that there is stuff that we know about Jesus can't prove, so we talk about it forever. So that's what's brilliant. Is it because there is no like um
I don't
there's
get your
no
point. I don't get your point there. I don't.
here's the point.
To me, what I don't know about Koberg, it doesn't matter any more than what he said he did.
Right, but he's
I
left
can find out. I can
unanswered
find out he's
questions.
autistic, retarded, whatever you want to say.
It's
He
the
said,
unanswered questions though that makes it interesting conversation forever.
what's the interesting
And
about
that's the
poor
brilliant.
people? What is so interesting about poor people getting butchered?
Well,
What's
it's
so
it's
interesting?
it
What questions do you need answered when it comes to, okay, well, these four were butchered. There was blood on the wall. There was blood on the handrail. There was blood on the beer pong
well,
table. There's
it's the
blood
unanswered
there.
questions. It's the human desire to know, and
I've heard
what it
you
is.
say,
This is why it's similar to religion. Is it because I can sit here and I can say I see an Elantra acting very suspicious, you know, going through this little neighborhood this many times in just a half an hour, and
so
then but the basic question is, and the human desire comes out at the very end where you say with your own voice, am I right? Am I right about how I believe
well,
this went down?
answer that to me right now because I want to
How
know.
can
Are
I
you
know
right?
that? How can I know that for absolute certainty and
Well,
sure? I can't.
you've sat on panels and you've defended your thought on the
Right. And
Elantra.
I've said these are my opinions, and this is what I think
No,
happens.
your
But
opinions are your thoughts, your beliefs. Okay. Do you believe that that was him in that Elantra?
yeah, I do. But there's
Okay.
still the question: am I right?
Fair
Am I
enough.
definitely right?
I didn't ask if you were right. I asked if you believed that that was him.
But
There's
I'm
two
just
different
saying it's like,
questions. You're making another question out of a question that I asked you.
well, I could say to you, I could say like, I believe that the ice melting salt at Walmart is $4.99 for. I could say I believe that, and then you come to me the next day and say, "Hey Jeff, it's $5.99." Well, there you go. I was wrong. I could, it's possible to be wrong about something. I don't
I'm
want to
not
be wrong.
I'm not trying to make you wrong. I'm just asking you to be definite about something that you believe in. If you believe in it, even though we're live right now and you might have to eat these words one day, so what?
No, but I think to be definite.
In the moment, is it not okay to have a belief and a conviction about who you are as a human being, as an adult?
What about
Only children give themselves that ability to flip flop and be wishy washy based on what comes down the pipe next.
yeah?
So stand with what you believe. Stand with your conviction. I believe he's guilty. I believe he did it. He said he did
Hey,
it. I
wait.
believe it.
Talk for just a minute. I got to make a call, real quick call to somebody that just landed at the airport.
Okay.
All right.
So is there anybody still left in this chat? Is there anybody here still? If you are, thank you so much for being here because we're just having a podcast moment because this is what I want the podcast to eventually be about different areas of true crime, even though we are talking about Idaho. We all know it. So that's why we're talking about it. But I also want to say that, you know what, when it comes to having conviction in life, I myself, I stand on what I believe. And that's part of being who I am. Not because I want to appease the masses. As you can tell, there's 5 people watching. There's probably going to be 30 people total watch this. At one point, it doesn't matter. At what point does it matter who approves or who disapproves? You know, I've had countless people attack me for my thoughts and beliefs, call me stupid, call me an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You know, I've done the same to the other side. But you know what? At a particular point, I don't really care about the other side. I don't care about their thoughts. I don't care about their channels. I don't care about their beliefs. When you're an adult, you stand on what you know. You stand on your thoughts, whether that makes you look like an idiot, whether nobody believes in you, or whether everybody believes in you. You have to be confident enough to be able to stand up, face the world every day, give it your best. And at the end of the night, you lay your head down, you can sleep knowing that you didn't deceive anybody, you didn't intentionally hurt anybody, and you did the best you could with what you had. And that's what I try to do. And you know, I
What are you
really
trying to do?
enjoyed this thought process with Jeff because we have these kind of conversations off camera. And it's a good thing that y'all actually see what type of conversations we really do have, because we are the same people off camera that we are on camera. You know, I try to nail Jeff to the floor most of the time, and he's just squirming around. He's not having it. So, you know, it's
Well,
one thing.
I will always have the desire and the need to clarify, to just explain the the reason that I'm giving with the whatever the question is that's being asked.
Well, let me ask you another question, Jeff. At what point is it going to be clear enough for you in this case? What do you need? What more do you need to see or hear before
I mean,
you
I don't need to hear anything else. I mean, I'd be nice, but if I wanted to be the certainty, the definite that you were talking about, it's a tricky situation, because I mean, you gotta admit, when Bill Thompson said, we could let him talk, but how do you know he's telling the truth? But it sure would be nice to hear straight from the horse's mouth, like something that he could explain, that we all have, like, that's kind of a mystery. And then once he filled that in, it's like, well, only the killer could know that. I mean, that would, because the thing is, an unfortunate thing in
the other guy, he was being sentenced to death, and I was watching this execution site, whatever it is, and the guy was gonna admit he was a killer, right? And he said, the killer himself said, "What makes you think that anything I have to say is going to be the truth?"
Right.
Wow. What is in it for them? At that point, all the leverage has been taken away from them. They're not going to give you anything for anything. It's a give and take once you get in prison, right? You give me this, you owe me this. So Kohberger's not going to voluntarily give all this stuff unless he has something on the back end.
What's David saying?
Here's a question for you. Would you think Kohberger less of a monster if he went into that house to commit a different crime, and the killings were to eliminate witnesses because he didn't know Maddie wasn't alone? That's a good question. Answer that, Jeff.
Wait, I'm trying to follow the question, though. So he went in there to, if he went in there to do a different crime, and the killings, I mean, he's still doing the killings?
Actually assault.
Oh, is that's what they're getting at? Okay.
I think that's what he's asking.
Killings were to eliminate.
You can put rape, murder, whatever. You can do that on this channel. You don't have to I'm not monetized, so it doesn't matter what you say. I mean, be specific.
So he's basically killing people that would be witnesses to him raping the. Okay. Well, I mean, it could still be his intent already right now. That maybe that's what his intent was. So he's still a
Yes,
monster, I
that's
guess.
sexual assault. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. He eliminated the witnesses because his intent was to do something else, and he was
I mean, I know
interrupted.
we speculated. We speculated if he did have any kind of notion of how small Maddie was, that he could have gone into the house, subdued her, and carried her out of the house. Off to Wawa Park he goes, right? And buries a
Mhm.
body out there, just like Ted Bundy did in that area. And maybe it was only intended to be one person. What do you think of that? Now I ask you the questions.
Yeah, ask me a question.
What's your thought? You think he could have gone in there intending to only take and kidnap Maddie and get the heck out of there and then go
I've
do
said that
whatever?
before. I've said that before, and people made fun of it. But I do believe that possibly him finding Kaylee in the bed angered him because she was a threat to what he was about to do. And she may have even tried to fight him. Who knows? You know what
So
I
she was
mean?
a
She
she was
may
like
have.
in essence a K-bar blocker.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, if she woke up, sees a stranger in the room, she could have tried to fight him. I mean, he could have been on top of Maddie at that point. Who knows? Who knows? So I believe that Xana, Ethan, and Kaylee were collateral damage after the fact, as unfortunate as that is. God rest her souls. Maddie, if she was the target, then he knew that layout well, just like we know it. How do we know that layout so well and he couldn't have, right?
Right, right.
How do we know the inside of that house in and out and he doesn't or didn't?
Right, right. That's a good point you're making there because we know the layout of that house because we're so very interested in this case and we're passionate about it. If he's passionate about going into a house and doing something like that, yeah, why wouldn't he go research what the inside of the house looks like?
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I
And does he
mean,
really need to, though? I mean, he sees something on the third floor that he wants. He's going in on the second floor. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to say, I'm on the second floor and what I want is on the third floor. I'll take the stairs going down? No.
and I
you
mean,
know?
looking at those photos, we also understand that the house wasn't as dark as we speculated all these years. That house wasn't as dark as we thought it was. Remember, we talked about how dark the house would have been, how Dylan wouldn't have been able to see anything, blah, 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 other than the good vibe sign being on. Obviously, there was more light than that on. How
But
Xana,
I
I mean,
don't know that we have a truly honest representation in photograph of what the brightness level in that house would have been.
I don't know that answer, Jeff. I'm only going on what we've seen. That's all I
Because
can
I
do
think
about it.
that, photos taken during the day are definitely throw them all out because there's light
But
coming
what
through
I'm
the
going to
windows.
say here is people say, how could Dylan look down the hall and see Xana on the floor and not realize that she was deceased or bleeding out? Well, Xana's lights were on, right? So if you're looking down a dark hallway and there's lights coming at you, and you're in a dark in the area or dimly lit place,
Well, we're
it is,
assuming we know which lights were on.
no, in the pictures, it showed her light, those strung out lights over her closet area next to that where she
Right,
was
in Xana's
found.
room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those lights
I
were
mean those
on.
those yeah, but those lights don't give off a ton of light if that's the only light source in that room.
But the good
Um,
vibes lights on, the light from the TV, the lights that are, the 200 and something light that Tom Van was talking about.
Right,
on
and
the
I've
wall.
often talked about the good vibes light being blinding to Brian so that he couldn't see Dylan as he walked past. Remember? That was a comment I made many,
Yeah,
many
but
times. So
how could
what's the
that
difference
how
if
could that
Dylan is
be
walking?
and then not
So
blind?
same difference. Now just apply it to Dylan. Dylan is walking past the good vibes light. Her irises in her eyes closed down because of a bright light, and now she's looking down a hallway. Even if there is a little bit of light in Xana's room, her irises have closed down because she caught a glimpse of the good vibes light. Same principle. It's just instead of to the killer, being blind, kind of semi-blinded by the good vibes light, it's Dylan. I don't know why. It's scientific. I think.
Wow, we agreed on something tonight.
But I think
2
I
hours
just don't
into it.
see. I don't see Dylan being able to get an Oscar for acting and faking. That
We can't even really go there. We don't know who Dylan is, what she does, what she's about. You know what I mean? Blinded by the light. I got that song in my head. But I mean, I agree with you on that. I agree 100% with that.
But I think
I mean,
I think in the times that I've looked for a photograph that more closely represents how dark it was around 4 a.m. It's more the photos taken by news crews outside the house before the investigators had set up all the bright lights inside of there. I think then you kind of get a sense
well,
of how dark it was.
how do we know that Dylan had 20/20 eyesight? How do we not know that she didn't need glasses and wasn't wearing them? I mean, I'm not trying to make a new excuse, but think about this. I wear glasses. I'm looking at these two bright lights in my face right now, and the clock's on the wall, and I can barely tell you what time it is. But I see
Right.
the outline of the clock, but I can't very well tell what time it is. I see the bed outline, whatever, but I can't tell you if there was somebody laying in that bed bleeding.
Right, but isn't it funny though that those on the other side will take certain words of Dylan and it's like that's gospel. That's what she said. She said it was Kaylee ran down the stairs, so that's what we believe. Oh, but we don't believe her when she said she just thought Xana was passed out. Pick and choose. This one it's got to fit our narrative, so that's what we do. We pick, you know, and all the while trash her because she's one of the only ones that can put the death punch into Coburger because she was a witness. She got the bushy eyebrows. She
I
saw
wish
him
she
with the
would have never,
balaclava.
I wish she would have never saw him. I mean, honestly, I wish she wouldn't have opened the
Yeah.
door that third time. I wish that all she would have heard was what she heard. Honestly, I'm glad that she was able to see him. I'm glad that she was able to formulate the timeline, which is the only reason that her testimony would have mattered at all was the timeline. And that's all that matters in this case is the timeline. Everything else is strictly just circumstantial outside
Yeah,
the
because
home.
without Dylan, say she had just slept through it all. I mean, what would we have ended up having? We would have had a lot of these stories coming out of WSU, like, hey, we kind of discovered this, you got this white Elantra you're looking for. We just so happen to have a guy who's really giving women over here at WSU a hard time and is really creepy. Just so happens to have a white Hyundai Elantra, so maybe we should start looking into him. And then it would have, they would have caught him that way, even without Dylan. So I feel bad for Dylan. I like to tell pro burgers that their attacks on her is why I give to her GoFundMe.
What makes it so impossible for people to think that a male could kill a female? What makes that thought so?
I mean, we see it with the Ukrainian girl on a train. We see how 20 seconds after she's stabbed, she slumps over to die. 20 seconds. And she was only stabbed like what? Maybe 5, 7 times or so? How many times? Let me see. Or maybe it was like 9.
Well, we've tried to debunk certain things, and that's not the purpose tonight. We're just really talking openly. But my question is, what makes it so infallible to people?
She was stabbed
believe
only 3 times. Slumped over
Yeah.
to die after 20 seconds. Doesn't appear to have screamed or yelled either. She was just in complete
In that
shock.
video, she grabbed her neck, slumped over, and died.
Yep.
So what makes it unbelievable that Ethan would have done the same.
Because I think a lot of people are applying Hollywood movie stabbings to this real case in Idaho, and think that they. That's why I was amazed when someone on a channel said, "I just don't see why you're even bringing up the Ukrainian girl stabbing." It's like we need a reference. You showed that guy stabbed in the mall. I mean, that was a great reference to see. How many of us see stabbings and understand stabbings or that close to stabbing? So we got to look at something that's a reference.
Let me ask you a genuine question, okay? When we saw Brian walking through, what was it, Albertsons, that's when we got the better representation of his gait. Did he look like a frail individual to you?
No.
Yes or no?
No, I don't see a frail individual. No.
Okay, when he looks like Larry Hagman. When we saw him at Costco and he turned around and walks off, when he was standing there talking to that lady, did he look like he was about to fall over? Like he could barely hold himself up?
No.
Was his muscle tone so inept that he looked like he was barely able to stand?
And he looked very confident and cocky, too. He almost, in the way he drank that water bottle after he left that woman, it's almost like he said, you know that guy Ed Bassmaster, the comedian, he goes, psh, he kicks his foot like he's kicking dirt on somebody he doesn't like. It's like, that's what it looked like to me. He's like, screw this, I'm out of here, drink my water. I go get something somewhere else. I don't need this Costco.
Who goes to Costco to buy some coffee? I mean, honestly, who goes to Costco to buy a glass jar of coffee?
Who goes to Costco confused about the membership card process at Costco? I mean, there's signs all over the place as you're going in. This is
Is there really? I just know about
there's
the Sam's Club. I don't do Costco.
Well, no, maybe it's more once you go inside. But I'm pretty sure there's signs that say have your membership card. Either that or maybe just everybody obviously knows that's a member.
Look, lady, I'm just going in for a cup of coffee. I mean, I've been up all night. I killed 4 people. Don't make it number 5, okay? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people want to hear. They don't want to hear the rational stuff. That's what they want to hear. Brian sat there and told her, do you want to be number 5?
I'm looking at your typical Costco entrance. There's a big sign over the one that says entrance and the one next to it that says exit. And in between it, there's a big sign that says Costco, members only. Really huge, members only. Monday through Friday hours, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could still miss that. Yeah.
But the fact that he got the education, that makes him brilliant. But to the rest of us who actually have careers in education, we're idiots because a piece of paper doesn't mean shit. So
yeah, and then that's a pick and choose situation too. Well, this professor says he's brilliant. He was recommended for this program. Well, this professor says if we give him his PhD, we're going to be in trouble because he's going to surely harass or some female in the future. So it's like, okay, we'll pick and choose which professor do you want to believe. I really hope that this lawsuit at WSU sheds light on what type of person Koberger was outside of he was no longer under the wing of Mother because he was 2,500 miles away. It's probably not even going to trial anyway. How much
clarity do you need? All these people that are going to talk negative about this guy are going to be tried to be defamed. I mean, people are going to talk crap about them or, all these people. Think about all the people that have been doxxed in Moscow. All of Moscow, there's certain creators that know them by name, like they're best friends or whatever. I mean, I don't know half these people they talk about, but think of all the people that have been doxxed as potential suspects. You know what? Anything that comes out of this trial is a waste of time other than the family get what they deserve, get the money, whatever they're after. Nobody's going to believe it. Nobody's going to take interest in it other than to talk shit about the families. And that's all it's going to be about.
But I can understand Steve Gonsalves' frustration and that you send your daughter to college. You got a beautiful daughter that you've raised into a wonderful human being, and then some slime like this comes along, an evil slime like this comes along, ends her life in such a horrific way, and then it's almost like okay,
It was good.
we
It was good.
he's got a room now with room and board and rotten bananas. Here's the receipt. Have a nice day, Mr. Gonsalves. Hell,
So
wouldn't you be upset?
believe that, you believe Chad Daybell is a good person?
No, I think he
Well, this guy is in the same building.
right,
Chad.
but even Chad Daybell. All I'm saying with that is that anybody could have been good at one point, and then I don't think so. Are you telling me? Let me ask you a question. Are you saying that a person is born evil and then there's no way around it?
Psychopaths, yes. Sociopaths are made. Psychopaths are born that way. There's no correcting them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have serial killers, don't you believe? We wouldn't have Manson. We wouldn't have freaking BTK. We wouldn't have Dahmer. We wouldn't have Keys. We wouldn't have all these people.
But it makes me think of a Frank Zappa song where they're talking about somebody that went off the rails and took a bad course in their life. It's like where they say, the song goes something like it says, well, oh, he used to cut our grass. It's like when you interview the neighbors, like, oh, he was a nice person. I never would have suspected he was a killer.
Have you ever heard anybody say Brian tried hard to be a better person? In any of the retrospect at WSU, did you ever hear any of those professors or anybody reprimanded him, saying, you know what, after we gave him the talk, Brian increased his ability to change? No, you didn't hear any of that. For a person with a conscience, you would have heard that. You would have heard he's not being perfect, but at least he's trying. The dude got worse.
How much of it do you think has to do with he was so far away from home? Probably one of the first times he was far away from home.
None of it. That's all the rhetoric out there. He's far from home. He's lonely. You just bullshit.
No. What I'm saying is that he wanted to get his evil on, and he had to get away from home to do it.
What did I tell you earlier? You said no. I told you
What?
you've been planning this for a long time. I said that he came to Washington.
No. I asked you at what point do you think that his plan was planted? The seed was planted. I mean, how far back did it go? I mean, did it go before he even applied?
We know. Didn't his sister? Doesn't his? When you think, what's her name, Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
She did the slasher film.
Right. Yeah, we've talked about that. Like, does a 16-year-old teenage boy watching his sister in a slasher movie, knife slasher movie,
Does she have the
get any thoughts?
Those girls have a mental disorder that would make them a killer, and Brian's the only one that acted on it. I mean, we don't know. He obviously had an urge. To answer your question, how many urges do we have every day driving, especially those of us with road rage? We have that urge to kill every day. But how many of us actually run people off the road and kill them? It's a small, miniature percentage. I'm going to have to go, Jeff.
Well, this has been fun, 12.
It's been a lot of fun. Do you want to wait till the mic is cold?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
All right. Well, thank y'all very much. Those of you that hung in here. Gonna wait for the maestro to cue that music, and we're out of here. Thank you. Till next time. I'm 12.
I'm Jeff. Bye-bye.
See you later.